Dear Rejected, this is not just medical school, it's not just residency. Imagine somebody rejects you in life. You can even talk about relationships, but let's not even say that. I'm going to give you an example. The Harvard ring. I'm in undergrad doing my pre-medical classes after my motorcycle accident, right? I'm reinvigorated, reborn, and I'm walking again, and I take my first class towards my journey to medical school. What do I take? I take pre-calc, and then I take Chem 1. My first pre-calc test, I get a 62. Okay? So what? I'm like, man, we can't be doing this all over again, right? I've already been failing the past 6 years. Now it's supposed to be a new leaf. I'm supposed to start out, I'm supposed to be getting good grades. I'm trying to go to med school. So I hire a tutor. This is at UF, Library West. This guy, he was passing out flyers after all the pre-calc classes. And he sits outside the class, he passes out flyers. Harvard trained math tutor. Pre-calc, trig, calc 1, calc 2, physics, whatever. $40 an hour. So I'm like, all right, this is perfect. This is exactly what I need. You know what? Med school's not gonna know if I got a tutor or not. I can't take a risk, right? Write this guy a check for $40. When we're supposed to meet 2 days later. I bring the check. I start asking him questions, and then I was impulsive, right? I didn't understand. And he would say something like, why though? Why is it this way? What about this other technique? And he looked at me, he said, you see this? You see this ring? He had a ring. He said, this is a Harvard ring. He said, Cal, you're not teachable. Threw the check in my face. All right? And honestly, in a past life, even maybe now, that type of rejection would have made me so sad, bummed out, hopeless, for a few minutes, for an hour, for a half a day, whatever. Normal reaction, every human being, right? I mean, if you're a telemarketer, you call someone, they shut the phone in your face, it gets you. I mean, it's not like the end of the world, but obviously you get used to it, whatever. So even now, I might go up to a patient or something, or a colleague, and say something and expect a laugh, and they don't. And I'm like, I kind of feel bummed for a second. This guy threw the check in my face. I did not care. Not even a freaking sliver of emotion. Took the check, put it in my pocket, put all my stuff in my bag, went straight to office hours. I found this tutor. His name was not a tutor. I found a teaching assistant, Andrew. I need to look up his last name, find out where he is, send him a thank you card. Andrew, and I was like, hey man, I got a 60 on my first test. I'm struggling. I need someone to tutor me. I need some help. I was like, I'll pay you. He was like, don't even worry about it. You don't have to pay me nothing. Maybe 2 to 4 hours a week, maybe even 4 to 8 hours a week, I would go to this guy for free. He'd be working on math. He was like a PhD student doing TA. He's just all day he sits there. He's just writing math problems, working on math problems, working on his thesis, dissertation, whatever PhDs do. He was mathing all day. So anyways, I just show up. He's like, all right, let's do it. He clears the whiteboard. All right, let's learn this. Oh, 1 + 1, it's 2. I'll prove it to you. Showed me everything, fundamentals, taught me whatever. Next test, get 100. The next test, a 98. End up with an A in the class, right? Because UF drops the first, the lowest score. It's so easy to succeed. They just literally drop the lowest score. It's you fail one time. If you don't pick yourself up, figure yourself out. It's come on, you're hopeless, right? You have to figure it out. Come on. They dropped the lowest score. Come on. What are you guys doing, Anyways, what am I trying to tell you? If you want something in life, all right, I don't know what you want. I can't decide for you. I'm not going to put my values on you, all right? But if you want something crazy, something that no one else believes in, if you want to go to med school in the United States, but your family, your parents, why don't you just go to the Caribbean where it's easier, where it's cheaper? You'll get in for sure. If you want radiology, but your parents or your friends tell you, hey, you should just do internal medicine, you're already soaked into it, you should just settle, okay? Or if someone rejects you, I applied to med school. How many med schools did I get into? I got into one. How many did I apply to? Almost every single one in the country, except the out-of-state schools, East Michigan, where it was going to be 80 grand or 90 grand a year for an out-of-state resident. I didn't apply to Harvard or something either, okay? Because I was realistic. But rejections do not matter. You need to learn. Just like that's one of the reasons of the secret of MCAT prep, USMLE board prep, all standardized test prep is doing high volume questions. Why? Because when you get a question wrong, when you get rejected by a question, you need to learn to not fall in love with that question. Learn whatever you can learn. Move on to the next question. It's about emotional regulation. That's a big part of test taking. It's about lowering your anxiety. That's a big part of test taking. And a big part of life is when you go up to someone and you shake their hand and you say, hey, I'm Dr. Cal. I'm Dr. Cal. I'm Dr. Abdelghani. And they reject you, or they don't want to talk to you, or they act like they're too busy or too cool. You move on to the next opportunity. Okay? And so in this case, I was an undergrad, and I needed help, and I was at a low point in terms of academics, but not in terms of mental fortitude. And some tutor with a Harvard ring rejected me and said, I went to Harvard. You're not listening to me. You're not teachable. So I just went to the next person. Okay? And that's what you got to do in life. Here's the other thing, too, that I would like to kind of caution you about. Avoid the big shot. Okay? Avoid the big shot. Just like you want to avoid like big box stores, you want to buy local and stuff like that. If you go up, if I go to get help from the president of the United States, from the mayor of my city, they're busy. They're big shots. They're too cool for me. Okay? Yeah, maybe this sounds nice that I talk to them. If I want to get a recommendation letter for med school from the dean of, whatever, yeah, they barely know me. They're going to write me something, whatever, and it's going to say dean of big shot. But that's not helpful. You want to stick to the middle tier people who actually care. They're just budding. They want to invest in you, right? They're not too arrogant or too much of big shots or too busy or too cool or too fancy for you. And they're going to bring you up to speed. That's what you want. So don't be chasing letters of recommendation from the big shot. Don't be chasing, I need to shadow, this famous person. It's not necessary. Network and keep it real. Keep it simple. And don't let any rejection get you.